What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on this motherfucking YouTube shit. Wow, what the fuck?
What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn YouTube shit. Hey man, say man, we are Lit your team, man. Turn. Take to motherfucking day. Children outside. Big crip in the gang. Children outside shit, man. Free Palestine, free Congo. Russia do your thing, and Texas stand the fuck up. Each day is a new day to be a better version of yourself. Never let somebody bring you down, always fight back. Never let somebody tell you who you are. Also never put yourself in a position you don't belong. Let's stay humble. Let's go revolution on the movement. Keep Yahweh first. Coming to you, Black Hebrew Israelite. As a real Jew. We out here. Alright. Boom. Today, 2 motherfuckers today. Children outside. Big crip in the gang. Children outside shit, man. Turn up in the gang. Hey man, this shit getting wild, bro. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these cases of what's been going on in the rap game, man, is now coming back, bro, into reality, bro. Like, damn, bro, you know, a lot of these people that was in these beats or was in this rap disc, man, have really all been fucked over. You know what I'm saying? You know, I fuck with both of them, you know what I'm saying, who came out to Florida and did what they did. You know what I'm saying? But, so we got the Kasoo, his dad, Blue, Bibby, and the other dude, you know what I'm saying? Damn. That's been going on in these situations about murder shit. You know, I wanted Kasoo to be free, man. You know what I'm saying? But his dad, bro, his own dad, has done some bull. But hey, that's how shit be going. You know what I'm saying? The hood, bro, this shit is wild, bro. Any team can happen, bro. It's tough out here. So we got the video, man. Y'all gonna see how I break it down, and his dad on the trial, and you know, people, his one of other homeboys snitching. Let's get into it. Turn up, gang. Shout out to Hip Hop Daily. First off, you did want to sing crip. This Kasoo shit, man, it's gotta be one of the most diabolical, devious, dubious type of like situation out here, bro. Like, the dad said, "Fuck that shit." Kasoo said, "That wasn't even me." They said, "I don't even know what the fuck going on, bro." Let's get into this shit, bro.
Kasoo might be the biggest crash out in the history of the rap game. And today we're breaking down how he got cooked in his trial and will never be coming home again. The opening statement started with the prosecutor breaking down the war in Jacksonville for the jury.
6 Block and ATK are rivals. They don't like each other. They hate each other. And one of the traditions of both groups is producing rap music, drill rap.
But they don't know more about us than we know about ourselves, right? Goofball asses.
Members of their ops, the other group.
Drill fans know that Young and Ace
How the fuck y'all know all that goofy shit, bitch? Just because they say it don't mean it.
Down piece by piece and told him that Kasoo murdered Lil Buck for Get Back. 1 year after Kasoo's brother Boss Boom got
they
killed,
our biggest fans.
Kasoo and his cousin Scotty was signing on the ops on the anniversary of Kasoo's brother's death. That's when they spotted Lil Buck. When Lil Buck went to his whip, Kasoo popped out and shot him till he fell down. Then, while Lil Buck was bleeding on the pavement, Kasoo stood over him and shot Lil Buck in the head. And to make sure the jury knew how brutal the situation really was, the prosecutor described how Lil Buck's teeth and brains were splattered all over the parking lot.
Slashing open his flesh. Hot metal ripping through his muscles. Hot metal blowing open his skull. Flesh, gray matter, even teeth sent flying through the air.
There are a lot of insane parts of the Kasoo trial. One of the craziest things is when the lawyer brought up what Kasoo told an op right before he pulled the trigger on Lil Buck. When Kasoo and Scotty saw Lil Buck park his whip and go into a building, they waited for him to come out. And while they were waiting, Kasoo FaceTimed one of Lil Buck's homies and told him, "We caught your boy slipping." Then a few minutes later, Kasoo hopped out and left Lil Buck's brains on the ground.
Using Instagram on his phone, he contacts Raekwon Howard. Raekwon Howard, who is affiliated with 6 Ball. They're honest. Tells him, "Not one of your boys slipping." Let him know they're getting ready to take somebody out, but doesn't say who.
The defense team opened up by trying to make the witness sound sketchy.
You're going to hear from Barbara Buckley, and I'll tell you up front, I think you'll like her. She's feisty. No one pulls anything over her eyes. And she's going to walk in and she's going to honestly talk to you about that morning.
Kasoo's homie Dominique Barner and his own dad Blue flipped on him, but the defense didn't want the jury to believe anything they said. Kasoo crashed out in public in front of a bunch of cameras, and he got caught running around with the gun he used to kill Lil Buck with. The defense tried to argue that Kasoo was way bigger than the dude on the cameras, but Kasoo had photos all over social media that proved he fit the description of the shooter. After Kasoo killed Lil Buck, he hopped in a whip with Scotty and Dominique Barner, and they took off with the cops right behind him. They ended up crashing the whip, and that's when Kasoo split off from
Not
them.
the
He ran through
Stolo.
some woods and ended up in another neighborhood, and that's when someone spotted him popping out of the woods and getting picked up by a woman while the police sirens were going off everywhere.
A car approaching us, right, coming the way we were seeing.
What was significant about the car?
It was a lady driving, holding a cell phone. She looked lost, like she was looking for something.
Kasoo had called a
That's a
woman
nice
named
ass
Natalie to come
spot.
pick him
Bitch,
up,
yeah,
and
big,
her
big
testimony
ass
on the
pool in
stand
that
helped
bitch.
the prosecutors make their final decision.
That was a
The defense
kickback,
tried to
bitch.
argue that Kasoo wasn't the dude who popped out of the woods, but Natalie confirmed that Kasoo came out of the
Who
woods.
was that
That's when she
chick,
picked
bitch?
him up.
Where
Like
did you have to go
what?
to pick him up?
Of Arlington
On
Expressway,
Prius,
some
bitch.
apartments.
And how did you know where to go?
That
Kareem,
bitch like
I
pool
believe
is
Kareem said
bitch.
it, or I don't know if there was a thing on his phone with a map. That I cannot
If
remember.
it is,
Natalie
well, like
definitely
6,
didn't
7
help
pools.
Kasoo's case, but one of the biggest witnesses was his homie Dominique Barner. Dominique Barner helped Scotty break into a house and kidnap a woman after they crashed the whip, and he was facing some crazy charges. Even after he pleaded guilty
No,
and agreed
Florida
to
do got a lot of
testify,
pools.
Dominique Barner was still facing 20 years in prison. Dominique confirmed that ATK was a gang and that Kasoo and Scotty both ripped the set.
Are you familiar with a local rap group called ATK?
Yes, sir.
Was that Bill
Damn,
Robinson
this,
Jr.
no, this shop been going on for a minute, bro. They been trying to rack this shit up.
Leroy Whitaker?
Yes, sir.
Oregon Williams?
Yes, sir.
I think it been like, what, 5, 4 years?
Leroy
Bro,
Whitaker?
I was like, man,
Oregon Williams?
Yes, sir. Then
just
Dominique
by
testified
chance,
about all
it be
the
like
diss
on
tracks
that
and the real
Louisiana
violence
shit
that was
when the
going on in
niggas
the
escape.
streets.
Bro,
According to
like,
Dominique, Lil Buck dropped a diss track on Kasoo's
nigga,
brother
hoping some
Boss
shit
Boom.
happens.
That's why
Get
Kasoo
free.
wanted to take him out.
If you know, what is the lyric? Smoking on Willie mean?
You smoking on the dead
No, I know this the death penalty.
Is that a good
Hope
thing?
not.
What's a bad thing?
Was
That nigga low key like bump game.
Abdul Robinson Jr. Kareem aware of this song?
Yes, sir.
What about Hakeem Robinson?
Yes, sir.
Leroy Whitaker?
Yes, sir.
Were they upset over that song?
Yes, sir. Dominique Barner actually DM'd Lil Buck after the track dropped and told him to stop dissing. And then Dominique looked up Lil Buck's address and found out what kind of whip he was driving. Dominique, Kasoo, and Scotty pulled up to the apartment building where Lil Buck lived. But the reason they didn't kill him immediately is because Lil Buck went on vacation and wasn't in the city.
Once you found out where Charles McCormick lived in December of 2019, why wasn't he killed right away?
Because he took a vacation.
Charles took a vacation?
Yeah. They found out that Lil Buck was back from vacation, and that's when Dominique, Kasoo, and Scotty went sliding again. They drove to Lil Buck's crib and waited for hours till he came outside. Then they followed him when he drove off. When Lil Buck got to the shopping mall and went inside a building, Kasoo, Scotty, and Dominique sat in the whip and waited. Dominique confirmed that's when Kasoo FaceTimed one of their ops and let them know they caught one of their homies lacking. Then Kasoo popped out and ran Lil Buck down.
What happened after Hakeem jumped out of Nissan?
Shot at him.
Shot at who?
So this nigga snitched
After
on
they crashed their
Kasoo.
whip and took
Fuck.
off running, Dominique and Scotty broke into a woman's house and started looking for different clothes they could change into and wait for the situation to cool down. They didn't know a woman was inside the crib though, and when she came in and told them they had to leave, Dominique and Scotty choked her and held her hostage so she couldn't
Get your
scream for
bitch.
help. Then Scotty made some calls.
Get your
Kasoo's
goofy
dad
ass
Blue was the
going.
one who came through and
Get
picked
your
him
ass
up.
down,
One of the
bitch.
craziest parts of the whole story is
Stop
that
moving,
Kasoo's dad
ugly
Blue
ass.
ended up flipping on his son
Bitch.
and taking a stand against him. Blue was facing charges in some other cases, but he thought testifying against Kasoo would help him get less time. The prosecutors are trying to prove that the Lil Buck hit was get back from Kasoo's brother Boss Goon, and that Kasoo's dad Blue was there when Boss Goon got killed. Blue was driving the whip when some shooters rolled up and aired it out, and Blue testified about holding Boss Goon's hand while he died in the car.
As I was driving, I could hear Willie making this scuffling noise, and I hold his hand while I was driving, because I didn't want him to die. Feel like he died alone.
Blue's other son, Abdul Robinson Jr., was also in the car when his brother Boss Goon got killed. He's also facing a murder charge for Lil Buck, but his trial's going to be separate.
So
And Blue's
both
probably
his
going to
sons.
testify in that case too. Blue testified that Lil Buck was affiliated with 6 Block and had beef with Kasoo and everyone else in ATK. After Blue picked up Scotty and Dominique Barner from the house they broke into, he drove them behind Burger King so they could burn the clothes they wore on the hit. Dominique and Scotty told Blue what happened, and he decided to help him out a little bit so they could get away with it. But after Blue,
they all ready for some fuck shit. Bitch, you get the tools, you get the tools, you get the tools. Nigga, let's turn up. Nigga, fuck you talking about? It ain't no cap. This shit fucking started. Damn.
My son.
What's your son's name?
Again.
testifying against your own son is wild, but this wasn't the first time Blue snitched in court. Back in the 90s, he cooperated with the feds against the cop, and then he started working as a confidential informant for the cops. Blue was also wrapped up in another case, but since he decided to plead guilty for accessory after the fact and flip on Kasoo, he's only facing 20 years in prison instead of life. The prosecutors had witnesses, snitches, and DNA evidence to prove Kasoo was guilty, but Kasoo also self-snitched like crazy after he killed Lil Buck. Kasoo is also facing murder charges for killing Fulio's homie Lil Bibby, and right now, his reaction to finding out he got charged for that is going viral all over the place.
You have a warrant for your arrest. We have a warrant for your arrest for murder today. What? Yes. For what? You want your lawyer, so I can't tell you no more, but you'll be in trouble. What the hell?
Kasoo self-snitched about Bibby constantly until he got booked for the Lil Buck murder, but a lot of people didn't even know he self-snitched about Lil Buck too. Kasoo even dropped the track Bang It Out and showed off the gun he used to kill Lil Buck and posted photos with the same strap. After the Lil Buck hit went down, Kasoo went to get a pedicure and made a post where he said, "Kill a nigga and get my toes done." And one of the most viral parts of the trial was when the lawyers quoted the post.
"Kill a nigga and go get my toes done. And go get my toes done." Those are his words, and he attached to a video.
When the trial was over, everyone knew that Kasoo and Scotty were cooked. The defense didn't really have anything to fight back against all the evidence, so Kasoo and Scotty both went down for murder, and Kasoo's reaction is blowing up on social media. Then after it was all over, Kasoo posted a story on IG and tried to say that the jury was against him because they were all white, and so was the judge. Kasoo crashed out and got flipped on by everybody. There was almost no way he was going to beat the trial. The cops had DNA, videos, witnesses, and Kasoo's own self-snitching to use against him, and now he's facing life in prison. And what makes the situation even worse is that Kasoo is still going to have to fight the Lil Bibby case. So even if he appealed the Lil Buck conviction and won, there's a good chance he's going to catch another life sentence for allegedly killing Lil Bibby. Kasoo self-snitched a lot about Lil Buck, but it was nothing compared to what he did after he allegedly killed Lil Bibby. Kasoo gets a sentence handed down for the Lil Buck case in September 2025.
Kasoo, man. He's got a whole double stuff. Pause.
If you're thinking about hiring a car...
So we got Kasoo sentencing. Hey, this channel sometimes be going crazy with the clickbait, but we just gonna get down to the nitty gritty. Basically, he's sentenced.
When the court found Kasoo guilty, no one realized the jury might have just signed his death sentence. Just hours after he arrived at his new prison, insiders claimed things turned deadly. Apparently, KTA finally got their revenge. Let me break it down. When the hood comes to prison, there's talk right now that Kasoo's already been harmed in prison. And honestly, it won't be a shock. The man's got enemies everywhere, and just about everyone's got a bone to pick with him. Kasoo got hit with that guilty verdict for first-degree murder in the 2020 shooting death of 23-year-old Charles Lil Buck.
Just let you know, Kasoo not haven't went to jail yet, so or prison.
No parole.
So hopefully he don't get touched out there.
Until he meets his maker. But the real tea that got everybody shook wasn't just the conviction itself. It was hearing Abdul Robinson Sr., Kasoo's own father, take the stand and point the finger at his own flesh and blood. When the prosecutor asked this man if he was snitching on his own seed, his answer had the whole courtroom feeling some type of way. That one word, yes, spoken by a father about to destroy his son's life, echoed through that courtroom like a gunshot. This wasn't no regular street beef or some rival gang member trying to get back. This was blood turning on blood, and everybody in that courtroom felt the weight of what was about to go down. Now let me break down the backstory for y'all who might not understand how deep this Jacksonville drill scene really gets. The murder was allegedly motivated by a gang feud between ATK, Ace's Top Killers, and 6 Block. And this wasn't no casual neighborhood disagreement. We talking about bodies dropping, families getting torn apart, and whole bloodlines getting wiped out over territory, respect, and revenge. The spark that lit this particular fire was Lil Buck's diss track about Kasoo's deceased stepbrother Willie, Boss Goon Addison. Now in the suburbs, y'all might think rap beef is just entertainment, but out here in these streets, it is life and death. When you rap about a dead man, especially when that dead man got family still breathing, you basically putting a target on your own head and daring somebody to pull the trigger. But here's where it gets interesting for all the legal eagles watching this case. The prosecution's case against Kasoo was shakier than a crack house in an earthquake. The defense had mounted a serious challenge, pointing out that Kasoo's physical build, described as 6'3" inches and stocky, didn't match witness descriptions of the shooter as 5 8 inches to 5 9 inches and slender. The murder weapon was never recovered, and Kasoo's cell phone records couldn't definitively place him at the crime scene. In the hood, we call that reasonable doubt, and any decent lawyer should have been able to get their client off with that kind of weak evidence. But then Kasoo's father walked into that courtroom and changed the whole game. This man was facing his own charges, arrested on September 10th, 2020, and charged as an accessory after the fact for allegedly
and he threw his own son on the bus, nigga. Both his sons,
basically. In a separate case involving something wild where he allegedly paid somebody to murk someone else, but they missed and ended up killing an innocent bystander named David Rderers. So this man was looking at serious time. We talking decades behind bars. But the state offered him a deal that would make any street dude think twice. Snitch on your own son and walk away with time served. For a high-profile gang member like Kasoo, whose crimes had been blasted all over the news, and whose music had been dissing dead ops for years, walking into that facility was like walking into enemy territory with a target painted on his back. The correction officers might run the administrative side of things, but make no mistake, the inmates run the social structure, and that social structure is built on respect, reputation, and the willingness to handle your business when somebody tries you. Let me break down for y'all how this really works, because it's not like what you see in the movies. The reality is much more calculated, much more political, and much more deadly. When high-profile inmates enter the system, word spreads faster than gossip in a barbershop. Within hours of Kasoo's arrival, every major player in that facility would have known who he was, what he'd done, and most importantly, who his enemies were. The case of Money Sign Suede gives us a perfect example of how quickly things can go sideways for rappers behind bars. The 22-year-old Mexican-American rapper from Huntington Park, Los Angeles, was fatally stabbed in a shower at the Correctional Training Facility in Soledad, California, on April 25th, 2023. According to his attorney, Nicholas Rosenberg, Valdez was attacked in the neck, and the incident was being investigated as a homicide.
Yeah, get down like
Money
that.
Sign Suede wasn't even involved in the same level of street politics that Kasoo was dealing with, but he still got his issue behind bars. He had been serving a 32-month sentence for gun-related charges since January 2023, and his attorney noted that he had been attacked in prison prior to the fatal incident, showing that the problems had been building up over time. The word on the street was that Money Sign Suede's murder might have been related to extortion or gang politics, with some sources suggesting he may have refused to pay taxes or follow prison gang protocols. While we can't confirm all the details, this case shows how
it's like being famous in prison, like it's almost like a target.
Respect the hierarchy,
but it's like
pay what you owe. Consequences can
anybody can make up some shit up in jail, you know what I'm saying? Like
complex.
you become your own like person, like it don't have to be real, you know what I'm saying? Like
rival sets who've been waiting years.
You got real niggas like me. Then you got niggas who just make up shit just to, you know what I'm saying?
Delivered him right into their hands. The leaked footage of King Von's time behind bars gives us another glimpse into how volatile prison life can be for high-profile gang members.
Today's date is February 9th, 2016. The time is 13:14 hours. I am Sergeant Crumb Star number 3069, Division 1073 shift. I will be interviewing detainee Bennett. Can you state your name and ID number?
In one video from 2016, Von can be seen in a serious altercation with another inmate.
It got
so heated that guards had to use mace to break it up. After the incident, Von was questioned by a sergeant, but his responses showed the typical prison mentality of not cooperating with authorities even when you're the victim.
Can you tell me what happened?
I got mace.
Why'd you get mace?
I was in the hallway.
You was in the hallway.
I was in the barbershop. Get the corner. Who maced this kid? I don't know. Somebody maced.
They just maced you for no reason? Oh, okay. You got any injuries?
What's really wild is that more footage emerged showing Von in November 2017 talking to law enforcement about his safety concerns and requesting protective custody.
They supposed to be a Christian. They got a problem with gay people.
So because of your sexual orientation, you're requesting protective custody, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
This footage, which leaked in July 2023, showed how even the hardest street dudes sometimes have to make moves to protect themselves in prison, even if it means looking soft to other inmates. Another Another video showed Vaughn getting into it with a Chicago rival known as 051 Freaky, where he managed to slip out of his handcuffs and get some licks in before guards intervened. The beef was reportedly over a tattoo disrespecting Lay Capone, showing how prison fights often stem from disrespect that happened years earlier on the streets. These King Von incidents illustrate perfectly what Kasoo was walking into. Prison is a place where old beefs never die, where disrespect gets remembered for years, and where the wrong look or comment can lead to serious violence. For someone like Kasoo, who had built his entire reputation on being disrespectful to his ops and bragging about bodies, prison was basically a 24/7 danger zone. The psychological pressure of entering this environment can't be overstated. There had been allegations in December 2024 that Kasoo was being mistreated in Duval County Jail, claiming he was mentally abused, housed in the psych ward with mentally ill inmates, and denied proper communication with his legal team. His attorney, Chris DeCoste, raised concerns about isolation tactics possibly being used to gain an unfair advantage before trial. If those conditions were real, imagine how much worse things would get in state prison, where the guards have less oversight and the inmates have more freedom to move around and handle their business. For someone already dealing with the mental trauma of knowing his own father had snitched on him, the additional stress of constant threats and the need to always watch his back would be overwhelming. The case of Casanova shows how quickly situations can spiral out of control for high-profile gang members in prison. While awaiting trial at Essex County Detention Center, Casanova got into fights with Ulysses Lugo, who was connected to his own gang. These fights got extremely violent, with both inmates getting their faces slashed with razors, and other inmates subsequently hurting Lugo, possibly on Casanova's orders. What makes Casanova's situation relevant to Kasoo's story is how Casanova had spoken out against his gang, which led to him being targeted. While Kasoo hadn't publicly denounced ATK, the fact that his own father had testified against him could be seen as a form of family betrayal that made him vulnerable to attacks from all sides. The gang dynamics within Florida's prison system are particularly brutal, with different factions based on geography, race, and criminal affiliations all competing for power and respect. For an ATK member like Kasoo, entering this environment meant immediately being classified by other inmates and having to navigate relationships with various groups who might see him as either an asset or a liability.
Nigga, if you don't know what the fuck you doing in prison, bitch, you're cooked.
Had created enemies that extended far beyond Jackson.
You know what I'm saying? Because you got people just too friendly,
rival factions had been linked to multiple murders since 2017, creating a network of grievances that could be activated anywhere, anytime. Kasoo's father's testimony that ruined everything. When they asked him why he was about to destroy his own bloodline, Kasoo's father broke it down in a way that had even the hardest dudes in that courtroom feeling emotional.
True.
Now, for y'all who never been in the system, let me explain what this man was really saying. He wasn't just talking about being sick or wanting to see his kids. He was explaining why he was about to commit the ultimate sin in street culture, why he was about to violate the most sacred rule that exists in the hood. Never, ever, under any circumstances, snitch on your own family.
That shit been cooked, bitch.
Credit card, even.
I think everybody knew that this nigga was gonna snitch on his son, bro. He been saying this shit for
Y'all, this is different when you understand what was really happening. This man was choosing between his adult son, who was already deep in the game, and his little kids who still had a chance at a normal life. Here's a man torn between loyalty to the streets and love for his innocent children, and the streets had put him in a position where he couldn't have both. But it wasn't just about the kids. He was dealing with some serious health problems that made his situation even more desperate. For real, this man was literally dying, and the state was using his mortality as leverage to get him to flip on his own son. The plea deal that he accepted was brutal in its simplicity. Testify against Kasoo and get a reduced sentence of 76 months, most of which he had already served, meaning he could walk free in less than a year to spend his final days with his younger children. Without the deal, he was looking at up to 60 years for his charges in both the McCormick and Rothermel cases. The personal cost of this decision was immediate and devastating. When they asked him how snitching
So
affected his
60
family
to 20.
relationships,
Bitch, he
his
already
answer
look like
showed
he
just
gonna
how
get them far
completely
more
this decision had destroyed his world.
Nigga, it's crazy.
In the hood, family is everything. When you betray family, you don't just lose that relationship, you lose your whole identity, your whole support system, your whole reason for being. This man had basically committed social suicide to save his own life.
Man, your
and
family
his
are the people who
relationship
care
with his
about you,
younger
man.
kids. The consequences of his cooperation extended way beyond family drama. When they asked him about how snitching would affect his life in and out of prison, his responses revealed just how dangerous his situation had become. Real talk, this man knew that his testimony would make him a marked man for the rest of his life. In prison, snitches get dealt with. On the street, snitches get dealt with. And when you snitch on your own family in a high-profile murder case involving gang politics, you become the type of target that never goes away. The significance of January 15th, the date Lil Buck got his issue, held special meaning for the Kasoo's family. And his father's testimony revealed just how cyclical and twisted this whole beef had become. Now here's where this gets really twisted. The murder of Willie Boss Goon Addison on January 15th, 2019 had set in motion the chain of events that would lead to Lil Buck's death exactly 1 year later. Willie was shot outside a club in an incident that also wounded Kasoo's father, brother, and cousin, and his father's account of that night painted a picture of a family completely destroyed by street violence. Imagine driving your dying son to the hospital while you're bleeding out yourself, listening to him take his last breaths. That type of trauma changes a man forever, and it explains why this whole family was so consumed with revenge. The damage from that night was extensive and permanent. Kasoo's brother was shot in the head and remained in the hospital for 3 to 4 months. He had to relearn basic functions like walking and talking, and the shooting made him more angry and changed his moods. Another close family member was shot 7 times and left paralyzed. For Kasoo, who wasn't in the whip that night but was living with the family, the shooting made him angry, just like everyone else in the household. That anger would eventually manifest in what prosecutors alleged was his decision to get back at Lil Buck for dissing Willie in his music. The moment Kasoo's father identified his own son as the shooter in that dashcam footage was probably the most devastating moment in courtroom history. He stated he could recognize his own son in the footage, saying, "I know my kids." This identification backed up a 2023 deposition where he first agreed to testify against Kasoo after viewing the same dashcam footage. But Kasoo's father's cooperation went way beyond just pointing out the shooter. He admitted to helping ATK Scotty and Butter escape after the shooting, picking them up from a woman's crib where they had fled after a police chase and car crash. He also confessed to burning the clothes worn by ATK Scotty and Butter during the crime, making himself an accessory after the fact. The defense tried their hardest to discredit Kasoo's father's credibility, with Kasoo's attorney Christopher DeCoste, painting him as a desperate man taking a deal to save himself. They argued that his plea deal was contingent on identifying Kasoo as the shooter, suggesting that the state had basically bought his testimony. During closing arguments, Assistant State Attorney Joel Cooper made it clear that the state's case didn't rely solely on Kasoo's father's word. They had other evidence like DNA, fingerprints, and social media posts. Despite all the defense's efforts to discredit the testimony and highlight the lack of solid physical evidence, the jury wasn't buying it. On July 31st, 2025, after just 3.5 hours of deliberation, they came back with their verdict.
Circuit on the 4th Judicial Circuit, being in Fort Duval County, Florida, case number 16, 2020, CF 3603B, Division Sierra E. Florida versus Hakeem Robinson. Verdict is to count 1 with the jury found the defendant guilty of first-degree murder as charged in the indictment. So say we all, done, Jason, Duval County, Florida, signed by the foreperson on July 31st, 2025.
When that verdict was read, you could see Kasoo's whole world crumble. Courtroom video showed him looking completely shook, covering his mouth and shaking his head like he couldn't believe what was happening. But this conviction was just the beginning of Kasoo's legal troubles. He still had another murder trial coming up for the 2019 killing of 16-year-old Adrian Lil Bibby Gaynor Jr. And guess who was expected to testify against him in that case too? That's right, his own pops. Family pain that cut deep. But yo, the realest moment happened right after they read that verdict. pops after hearing he was done for. His father gave him a thumbs up and tried to smile. Can you imagine trying to keep it strong for your son when your whole world just collapsed? That forced smile wasn't just love. That was a father trying to be the rock his son needed, even when everything inside him was breaking apart. The pain was so deep, Whitaker Sr. had to reach for words that could capture what felt like the impossible.
Like I say, I feel like a fire truck just ran into me, man. Backed up, put it back in drive, and ran over there again.
That's that type of pain that changes you forever, fam. When the streets finally catch up and reality smacks you in the face, it ain't just about legal consequences. It's about watching everything you worked for, everything you hoped for, everything you dreamed about for your kids get snatched away in a matter of seconds. But even with his heart shattered, Whitaker Sr. made it crystal clear that his love for his son was
they don't like to tell people
no matter
about.
what them courts decided.
We love him. We're gonna continue to love him. We're not giving up on him.
Once you make
It's not
it,
gonna be someone that just appears
you get to some type of success.
That's that unconditional family love right there. While the world might see ATK Scotty as just another gang member who got caught slipping, to his pops, that's still his baby boy who needs protection and guidance. Now let's get into the legal chess match that went down in that Jacksonville courtroom, because the way this case got prosecuted and defended reveals exactly how the system handles these street thieves when they spill into the murder case. Legal expert Shannon Schott broke down why this case was so significant for both the legal community and the hood, calling it a wild case with big impacts that would set precedents for how gang-related murders get prosecuted moving forward. The prosecution came correct with a strategy that was calculated and ruthless. They decided to run separate juries for each defendant, which was a smart move that allowed them to focus on specific evidence for each case, instead of having one jury trying to sort through all the different levels of involvement. This approach let each case get evaluated based on the evidence that was directly relevant to each individual, rather than having everything get mixed up in one big trial. But here's where it got spicy. The state's two main witnesses were both admitted killers, and one of them was Kasoo's own blood. Think about that for a minute. The juries walked in expecting a regular murder case from the state, but they
like you
definitely
said,
wasn't
bro, like
expecting to hear
anything can
testimony from
happen
two
in
confessed
prison, man.
killers, especially not the defendant's own pops. That's some next level
Especially
courtroom
you got
drama that
gang
most
beef,
legal
bro.
experts never see in their entire careers. The evidence game started with the most crucial
And these
piece.
be
That
two
surveillance
main
footage from
big
the
long
scene.
beats.
Detective Christopher Smith testified about how they used surveillance video from Dames Point Plaza and dash cam footage from a witness's truck to identify the shooter. This footage caught the moment when Lil Buck got chased down and aired out, giving the prosecution visual evidence that was hard to dispute. Where this case got really controversial was how heavy the prosecution leaned on social media and rap lyrics as evidence. Detective Smith highlighted Kasoo's track Kasoo Homicide and that infamous Instagram post with Lil Buck's photo captioned "Bye Bye" with the waving hand emojis. They also brought up another post showing Kasoo getting his toes done with the caption "Kill a nigga, then go get my toes done." Now any young bull from the hood knows that rappers be talking crazy on social media and in their tracks all the time. The defense understood this culture and fought back hard. Christopher DeCoste argued that the prosecutors were turning performers into criminals and called out the double standard of using Kasoo's lyrics against him while not treating Lil Buck's diss track about Willie Addison as evidence of criminal activity. The physical evidence was where things got interesting. While they found Kasoo's fingerprint on a rifle in the getaway whip and his hair on a t-shirt near the scene, the defense made sure to point out that the actual murder weapon never got recovered, and Kasoo's phone records couldn't place him at the scene when Lil Buck got smoked. The prosecution's ace in the hole was getting them accomplices to flip and tell on their own people. Dominique Butta Barner spilled everything, testifying that he, Kasoo, and Scotty looked up Lil Buck's address online, staked out his crib, and followed him to the shopping center in a stolen whip. Barner told the whole story about how they planned to catch Lil Buck slipping when he came back to his car. For ATK Scotty's situation, the charges went way beyond just the murder. Scotty got hit with burglary with assault and home invasion robbery charges because of what went down after they aired out Lil Buck. After the shooting, Barner and Scotty allegedly ran up at some woman's house, stole her husband's pajamas to change out of their bloody clothes, and put hands on the victim. The victim identified a tattoo on Scotty's arm, though she had originally said the attacker didn't have no tattoos, which gave the defense something to work with. But even with them inconsistencies, Scotty's DNA was all over that house, giving the prosecution that physical evidence they needed to lock him up. The defense came hard trying to destroy the credibility of the prosecution's star witnesses. Julie Slacks, Scotty's lawyer, painted Butta as a paid assassin with a history of lying to the authorities authorities, trying to flip the script and make Barner look like the real villain who is now throwing innocent people under the bus to save his own skin. Legal expert Shannon Schott acknowledged that the juries had to decide whether they believed these confessed killers, and ultimately they decided the witnesses were telling the truth. That credibility call was everything, because it validated the prosecution's whole strategy of using plea deals to get inside information from people who was actually there when the dirt went down. How fast them juries came back with guilty verdicts was telling, though. Scotty's jury only took less than 2 hours to find him guilty on all charges, while Kasoo's jury needed about 3.5 hours to decide his fate. Shannon Schott explained that even though there was mad complex issues for the juries to consider, the state did a solid job preparing them for all the wild testimony they was going to hear, including confessed killers and family members telling on each other. She mentioned that the jury even asked for a family tree to understand all the relationships involved, which shows how deep this case really went into Jacksonville street politics. The legal implications of these convictions reach way beyond just these two young brothers. Both of them are staring down mandatory life sentences under Florida law, and Shannon Schott predicted that appeals would definitely be coming, though she made it clear that filing appeals don't guarantee nothing. Schott identified some potential grounds for appeal, especially around the complexity of having two separate juries and possible issues with evidence or jury tampering. She also suggested that ineffective assistance of counsel motions would probably get filed down the line, which is standard procedure when you're trying to overturn murder convictions. State Attorney Melissa Nelson's statement after the verdicts made it clear how the system plans to handle gang violence moving forward. 5 years ago, Hakeem Robinson and Leroy Whitaker stalked a man and gunned him down in broad daylight because of disputes and drill rap. Today, a jury held them accountable for their brazen crimes. That's the state sending a message that they ain't playing no games when it comes to these street wars. The legal strategy also raises serious questions about how far prosecutors should go in using rap lyrics and social media posts as evidence. Using someone's artistic expression against them in court is controversial, especially in hip-hop culture, where exaggeration and fictional storytelling are part of the art form. But when them lyrics and posts line up with actual murder charges, the game changes completely.
Man, fuck that, man. That can't take up and do that, man. I done beat that ass already, man. And that's scared, man.
This clip, allegedly featuring Y and R Slugger T talking about putting hands on Kasoo in jail, shows exactly the kind of threats and violence that high-profile inmates face. Whether this specific incident happened or not, it demonstrates the reality that Kasoo's enemies weren't just on the streets. They were also locked up and looking for any opportunity to catch him slipping. The transition from being a free man with clout and protection to being an inmate at the mercy of the system is jarring for anybody, but for someone like Kasoo, it represented a complete flip of the power dynamics he was used to. On the streets, his gang affiliation provided protection and respect. In prison, that same affiliation made him a walking target for rival gang members who saw hurting him as a way to gain props or settle old business. For Kasoo, every moment in prison was potentially his last. Walking to chow, going to recreation, even sleeping in his cell, all of these routine activities carried the risk of encountering someone who had been waiting years for the opportunity to catch him lacking. Like this video? Click on the card showing on your screen for more.
So this is Dad testifying against Kasoo.
Who is the person that was captured on the video recording shooting Charles McCormick?
My son.
It's not often you see a father testify against their own child, especially when they're accused of murder.
Now, sitting here today, you realize that you are testifying against not only co-defendants, but family members.
Yes.
Why are you doing that?
Well, I have a number of reasons.
We'll explain what led this father to make the controversial decision, plus why his son stands accused of first-degree murder. Thanks for joining us on Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milner. This is one of those cases where it feels like it's all in the family. The defendants accused of murder are cousins, and the state's star witness is one of the defendants' dad. Now, prosecutors claim that the victim was stalked and targeted for a very specific reason, to get revenge over the music lyrics that the defendants weren't very fond of. On January 15th of 2020, Charles McCormick was walking out of a temp agency when he was gunned down in broad daylight. The killer wore a mask, was in all black, and chased down Charles before escaping in a getaway car. According to prosecutors, this wasn't a random attack. It was all planned out. The reason for the murder? A diss track written by the victim. Prosecutors claim Charles McCormick Jr., known as Lil Buck, made a diss song about a man named Willie Anderson. Willie was gunned down about a year earlier while leaving a nightclub. So when the track came out, reportedly making fun of Willie being killed, but also how Kasoo's dad, brother, and cousin were also injured in the shooting, prosecutors say that was motivation to get back at Charles, a.k.a. Lil Buck. The state says Kasoo, his cousin Leroy, a.k.a. ATK Scotty, and their accomplice Dominique Barner, a.k.a. Butta, all stalked Lil Buck together, and that it was Kasoo who was caught on camera shooting Lil Buck, while ATK Scotty was in the car with a loaded gun ready just in case. But it was 5 people charged altogether: Kasoo and ATK Scotty, who were tried together, Abdul Robinson Jr., who has yet to go on trial. Butta was offered a plea deal after admitting that he was the one who drove the getaway car. He also agreed to testify against Kasoo and ATK Scotty.
What was the reason that all of you wanted to kill Charles McCormick?
Because of the diss track he made.
And did that diss track upset you?
Yes, sir.
Were you upset about what he said in it?
Yes, sir.
Did he get stuff wrong?
Yes, sir.
That upset you?
Yes, sir.
Why was Hakeem Robinson and Leroy Whitaker and Kareem all upset?
Because he was dissing their brother and friends.
And by brother, you mean Willie Edison?
Yes, sir.
But there was another key witness the state used, Kasoo's own dad, to testify against him.
Mr. Robinson, do you see your son Hakeem Robinson in the courtroom here today?
Yes.
Can you tell us where he's seated and what he is wearing?
He's seated between his 2 lawyers right there with a beige suit on.
But there's a reason he was offered a plea, too. The elder Robinson was arrested back in 2020, accused of helping in the escape after the shooting. So when faced with a 60-year sentence versus a 20-year sentence, he took the latter. But he testified it wasn't an easy decision.
On January 15, 2020, prior to the murder of Charles McCormick, were you aware of what was going to happen to him that day?
No.
Did you participate in any of the planning of the murder of Charles McCormick?
No.
Were you present when Charles McCormick was murdered?
No.
School had a lot
Did you
of
know
time
that
to
was
think
going
about
to
this
happen
shit.
before it happened?
No.
When did you find out Charles McCormick was going to be murdered? Or, excuse me, when did you find out Charles McCormick had been murdered?
After I picked up Scotty and Butter.
So that would be Leroy Whitaker and Dominique Barner?
Yes.
You indicated you picked them up. How did you know that they needed a ride on January 15, 2020?
My son called me and asked me to go give Scotty a ride.
Which son?
Kareem.
Abdul Jr.?
Yes.
Now, sitting here today, you realize that you are testifying against not only co-defendants, but family members.
Yes.
Why are you doing that?
Well, I have a number of reasons.
What are they?
I got some health issues. I got 2 6-year-olds and an 8-year-old daughter. And, when my 8-year-old daughter asked me when I'm going to come take her to the daddy-daughter dance.
Objection, hearsay, relevance. Overruled.
This shit is irrelevant, bitch.
She asked me over each year when I'm going to come take her there. And I keep letting her down. Then my 6-year-old son, when he asked me if I'm going to come to his football games, come take him fishing. My other 6-year-old, he asked me when I'm going to come see him, when he begging me, please come see me, daddy. You want to teach me how to play the game, but he don't know where I'm at. Things like that. My health issues.
What health issues do you have?
I have diabetic. I'm diabetic. I'm on high blood pressure. I suffer from congestive heart failure. I just found out June 25th that my kidneys is failing rapidly.
When people know that you're cooperating, does that make it easier or harder for you when you're incarcerated?
Well, it makes it harder for me.
What about when you get out?
Extremely harder.
Is cooperating in this case something that is easy for you to do?
No, this is the most hardest decision I've had to make in my life.
Abdul Sr. says when he chose to testify against his son, a lot of his family cut him off. Family versus family torn apart. And like I mentioned before, this case all started in this family when Abdul Sr.'s son, Hakeem's brother, was killed.
When Willie Addison was shot, was anyone else inside the vehicle hurt as well?
Everybody.
including you?
Yes.
After everyone was shot, what did you do?
Well, I drove to the hospital, and as I was driving, I could, hear Willie making this guggling noise, and I hold his hand while I was driving, because I didn't want him to feel like he died alone. And I drove to Memorial Hospital, and when we got to the hospital, I got everybody out the car while I was shot, and helped everybody get, inside the hospital, because it was like people at the hospital really didn't want to help us.
Where were you shot?
In the back.
Where in the vehicle was Abdul Jr. seated?
In the middle row.
Was he shot?
Yes.
Where was Abdul Jr. shot?
In the head.
Did he almost die?
Yes. I think he did die, but he, came back.
What about your nephew? You said Sammy? Is he hurt?
Yeah.
How was he hurt?
Well, he got shot about 7 times. He's paralyzed right now.
Hey, let the ass up.
And Torgon was shot?
Yes.
Multiple times?
Yes.
During the shooting where Willie was killed, Abdul Sr., as you just heard, was injured. But for Abdul Jr., his recovery was a lot harder. The elder Robinson testified Abdul Jr. had to learn to walk and talk again after being in the hospital for months. So here's the thing. Charles McCormick wasn't accused of being involved in that shooting. The family got upset when he came out with a diss song taunting the family about the shooting.
Who did it reference that upset you and your family?
He talked about Willie.
How did you find out about that song?
Social media.
Did you personally find it, or did someone point it out to you?
No, my son showed it to me.
Which one?
Both of them.
And that would be?
Kareem and Hakeem.
Abdul Jr. and Hakeem Robinson?
Yes.
Hakeem Robinson?
Yes.
Did Abdul Jr. or Hakeem Robinson, either one, talk about the song?
They didn't like it.
Are you familiar with a local rap group known as ATK?
Yes.
Do you consider yourself to be a member of ATK?
No.
Boy, they trying to give out fucking football numbers, bitch.
Is Abdul Robinson Jr. part of ATK?
Yeah.
What about Hakeem Robinson?
Yes.
For those who don't know, ATK stands for Ace's Top Killers, a gang in Jacksonville known to beef with 6 Block, and prosecutors claim Charles was a part of 6 Block.
Who do you know that had a desire to go after Charles McCormick based on that song?
I would say a few people.
All right. Anybody related to you or anyone else?
Yeah.
Right. Well, who would you think had the most?
The most? I would say Abdul, my son, both of them, Hakeem and Abdul.
In January of 2020, did Abdul Jr. Own his own vehicle?
No.
How did he get around?
Rent a car.
Do you recall if on January 15th of 2020, Abdul Jr. had a rental car?
Yes.
What kind did he have?
A Dodge Journey.
Did both Abdul Jr. and Hakeem Robinson travel on rental cars?
Drink a couple of beers.
Yes.
Did you own a car on January 15th, 2020?
Yes.
Fuck some bitches.
Dodge Challenger.
That nigga trying
What color
to
was
get a
it?
cribbo.
Like reddish orange.
Turning your attention back
He
specifically
said,
to
fuck it,
January
I
15th,
eat bologna
2020,
sandwiches, bitch.
did you get asked for help that day?
Give me some now and later, bitch.
And how did you
Fucking
get asked for help?
in jail.
Well, I was asked to get somebody a ride, start a ride.
And who asked you specifically?
Abdul Jr.
They trying to get them
And
cocoa
how did he get
puffs.
in touch with you to ask you that?
He called me.
Did he call you one time or more than once, if you recall?
I think he called me more than once.
When spoke to Abdul Jr., did he tell you why Leroy Whitaker needed a ride?
No.
Do you know what area of town or Leroy Whitaker was in that you needed to go pick him up?
Say that again?
How did you know where to go pick Leroy Whitaker up?
Abdul Jr., he sent me a pin drop, a location.
What area of town did that take you to?
Arlington.
Was it a business area, a residential neighborhood?
Residential area.
When you went to pick Leroy Whitaker up, what were you driving?
Man,
On Dodge Central.
Kasoo dad trying to hit that nigga.
And you had
Fire
your
out, bitch.
phone number, the 866-2370 number with you?
Let's get it. Go ahead.
When you drove that
You told
Dodge
us to
Challenger
turn it, huh?
over there, is that a car that's actually in your name?
Yes.
Prior to picking Leroy Whitaker up that day, did you ever speak to him on the phone?
Yes.
Get any information from him as well?
Yes. I called him and I think the location thing took me past the location, and I called him, asked him where he was at, and he told me what house he was in. What it was a car in the yard, a certain car. I can't remember what the car was though.
Do you recall what the name of the road was where you actually went?
Or Townsend.
When you were driving on Townsend, did you see any police in the area?
Yes, I seen one police.
Where was that?
Say that again.
Where was that? Where did you see the police?
It was about a block or two from where I picked him up from.
Now, when you got to the correct location, what did you do?
Well, I pulled in the yard and I called Scotty, asked him, where they was at.
Now, you said you pulled into the yard. What was at that location? Was that a home?
Yes, it was to the house.
Did you recognize that home?
No.
Did you have any idea who was living there?
No, I didn't.
Did Leroy Whitaker come out immediately?
No.
As you waited, did you reach out to anyone?
I reached out to Scotty. And, I got a little impatient. And I just asked him, where you at when he come, and he told me they was coming.
Did you reach out to anybody else?
Yes, I called my son, Abdul.
What was the purpose of contacting your son, Abdul Jr.?
I just wanted to know where they was at, what was taking so long.
Do you recall if that was a phone call or communication by message? Do you have any idea? I know it was 5 years ago.
I can't quite remember.
What's these motherfuckers?
Eventually, did Leroy Whitaker come out of the home?
Yes.
Was he by himself?
No.
Who was with him?
Butter.
And when Leroy Whitaker and Dominique Barner,
Yes.
when they both came out, how were they acting? How were they walking?
I mean, I would say a little urgent.
Abdul Sr. says he remembered them wearing PJs, something they normally wouldn't wear. He picked them up anyway, but there was one person missing, Hakeem, aka Kasoo.
Now, as you were driving Leroy Whitaker and Dominique Barner away, did you find out what had happened to Charles McCormick?
Yes.
And you found out the details about who was involved?
Yes.
And did you continue to drive both Leroy Whitaker and Dominique Barner away?
Yes.
And after getting away from that neighborhood, did you make a stop?
Yes.
And where did you stop?
We stopped in Grand Park.
And what was the reason of stopping in that area?
Switch cars.
And were you able to do that?
Yes.
What car did you switch out of?
We got a white Impala.
Who did the white Impala belong to?
It was my daughter's car, but it was in my name.
Why did you want to switch out of your Dodge Challenger?
I mean, after I found out what happened, we in an orange car, very noticeable.
Did you eventually make it back to your home?
Yes.
And that's on Brown Jersey Court?
Yes.
Do you recall around what time of day it was that you made it back to that location? Approximately.
I mean, I can't say the exact time. It's like maybe, I can't say the exact time, maybe like 2:30 something up in there.
Good. In the afternoon?
Yes.
After you got back to your home, did you do anything else to assist either Leroy Whitaker or Dominic Barner?
Yes.
What did you do?
Well, I took the clothes they had on and left with them.
Where'd you go?
I went over there off Kings Road behind Burger King, put them in this fire barrel.
So you set them on fire?
Yes.
And why were you doing that?
I mean, it was just my way to help.
So the shooting of Charles happened in broad daylight in a business area of Jacksonville, meaning the shooter was caught on camera. Now, Kasoo maintained he wasn't the shooter.
Here is how to be.
And he wasn't the shooter, but in emotional testimony, his dad revealed the truth.
You've had an opportunity during the pendency of your case and the discovery to see that recording.
Yes.
Correct. Okay. Did you, when you viewed that recording, recognize the person depicted in it?
Yes.
Who is the person that was captured on the video recording shooting Charles McCormick?
So they recorded it?
My son.
What's your son's name?
Hakeem.
After the murder of Charles McCormick, did you become aware of a post on Hakeem Robinson's Instagram account referencing something that happened?
Yes.
And was that posted from a nail salon?
Yes.
And after seeing that post,
no turning back.
did you reach out to Hakeem Robinson, your son?
Yes.
And what did you want him to do?
I want him to remove the post.
Are you aware of any other posts Hakeem Robinson made to his social media around that time that concerned you?
Yes.
What was that?
It was another post of dude Lil Buck.
What did you see?
It was just the emojis on the bottom of it that said bye bye bye.
Say it again.
It was the emojis, the hand emojis saying bye bye.
But during the cross-examination, the defense tore into Abdul Sr.'s credibility, like that he's testified against others too to get a lighter punishment.
I guess you love yourself. Yes or no, sir?
Of course. Self-love first, right?
Over your children.
That's the law of nature. Love yourself first.
You're cooperating in this case, correct, sir?
Correct.
This is not your first cooperation, is it?
No.
You've somewhat made a career out of it, have you not?
I wouldn't say career.
Well, you first testified against an officer, Officer Eric Sinclair, back in... Overall. Back in 1999, right?
Did I do what?
Testified against Officer Eric Sinclair back in 1999.
No, I didn't.
Came forward with information.
Yeah.
The officer evidently didn't take it to trial, correct?
Correct.
But your cooperation, your testifying to the federal government caused him to enter a plea, right?
I'm not going to agree with that.
Okay. Well, what you probably will agree with
is that your sentence was dramatically reduced, right?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it true that before you talked to the federal government, what you were facing back in 1999, you could have gotten up to life imprisonment, correct?
Yes.
And it was reduced to 10 years, right?
Nope.
Substantial reduction?
My time was reduced to 22 years.
How much did you serve?
About 10 years and 3 months, 4 months.
Okay. Damn.
So from life to an ultimate actual serving sentence of about 10 years.
Damn.
Yes, well, it was a law change, and that's how my time got reduced again.
Well, and your cooperation, sir. You're facing an accessory after the fact charge for your involvement in the death of Charles McCormick, right?
Right.
And when they brought you in, you've agreed to cooperate, right?
Right.
But that didn't happen until 2022, correct?
Right.
That would have been after they put the second homicide on you, right?
Right.
The defense also slammed the idea that Hakeem, aka Kasoo, had motive to shoot and kill Charles because he wasn't even in the car the night Willie was killed.
Your testimony is that Hakeem Robinson, who was not shot, who is not biologically tied to Willie Addison like you, that somehow he had more motive than the other people that were actually shot. Right?
Say that again.
We're talking about the people that would have had a motive to be upset at Charles McCormick. Okay?
Right.
You, Butter and Brown, Blue Butter Brown. I'm going to trip over that if I say it fast. The whole thing about P Money was because you believe that he was behind Willie's murder, right?
Right.
Okay. So now Charles McCormick comes along and he's putting out a song. He's not signed to a record deal, right?
Right.
His song isn't getting any traction.
Right.
He's nowhere near the level of Kasoo, Hakeem Robinson, right?
Correct.
But your testimony is that was a motive enough for murder. That's your testimony, right?
Is this song?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's a whole list of people that will be way above him. Have the motive to kill Charles McCormick,
piece
right?
of a cookie here,
You? No?
No.
You'd have no motive to kill a guy who's basically laughing about the night that you were shot.
I mean, not me. You saying kill him pro se myself?
Look, all I know is this. I'll put this in a question.
Never sue the other driver after.
Ooh, this shit getting dirty, bitch.
You claim that the phone that's used by the shooter, that's registered in your name, right? Oh, excuse me, Darrell Watts. Right?
Right.
And we'll get to that. You allegedly burn the clothes that
This shit getting dirty.
Butter had on him, right?
Correct.
You break through the police perimeter to pick up Leroy Whitaker and Barner, right?
Come on, man. You exaggerating, man. You know it wasn't no police perimeter, none of that. You exaggerating now.
I'm exaggerating that there wasn't drones and helicopters overhead.
How would I know that?
Because you were driving to the location?
And I would see a drone in the air?
So we'll agree. All right, let's say the JSO. We'll let JSO answer the question whether they had a perimeter and they had hundreds of officers trying to find the shooter that was running through neighborhoods.
You really think I would have went through there if I seen all those police and all that? Or the drone and a helicopter and all that? You think I would have went up in there with my car registered in my name?
You don't want me to answer that question. So why don't you stick to answering my questions and not asking?
Here's that
my
question,
right?
bitch. You guilty because
this
you
life
black.
in the streets,
right? Damn. You don't need to answer that
question. Are you
question.
telling me that you, as the patriarch of the family, that basically these kids come by and say, "Hey, Blue, go do this."
They didn't call Leroy Whitaker daddy to go get it. They called me. What if they would have called I would like to see how they would feel if they would have called somebody else to go pick somebody up. They didn't. They called me. If I would have knew something was going on, I wouldn't have never went.
A day after Kasoo's dad testified against him, the Jacksonville rapper and his cousin learned their fate. Leroy Whitaker Jr., aka ATK Scotty, was found guilty of first-degree murder plus burglary with assault or battery, and Hakeem Robinson, aka Kasoo, was found guilty of first-degree murder. Hakeem maintains his innocence, even post-verdict. In a post made to social media, the rapper wrote, quote, "I had an all-white 12 jurors with 3 white state attorneys with a white judge in a courtroom with all white judges on the wall. Every black person that I could pick on my juror was struck by the state. I just showed the whole world how Jacksonville, Florida is corrupt. Listen, God got the last say-so." Kasoo and ATK Scotty haven't been sentenced yet. That'll happen on September 8th. As for Dominic Garner and Abdul Sr., they are still both behind bars, and they both have their next court date on August 18th. Abdul's other son, Abdul Jr., still has yet to go on trial, but his next court hearing is August 19th. Thanks so much for joining us here on Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milner.
Alright, we back. Bruh. So, a lot of this stuff, man, you know, I think the dad, man, and the thing is, Kasoo got 2 more trials. His brother, and then he got another trial. So it's like, bruh, you know, a lot of shit that happened in the streets during that time, man, has kind of left a crazy type of past effect on people, man, because, you know, a lot of people, man, not sure no more, man. You know what I'm saying? That's the sad truth. You know, a lot of them judges, police officers, people, they don't give a fuck about these niggas. Let's be honest. They hope these niggas get clipped, took it out, died, you know what I'm saying, gone forever. They don't give a fuck about us, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, man, we gotta understand, man, these motherfuckers, man, was going through some shit that, you know, a lot of hood shit happens, you know, to where beef, money on, bitches, hoes, drug type shit. Anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? But how it came down to this situation to that, giving up all up on his sons, man, he said he trying to get to the crib, man. He ain't. He got 2 6-year-olds, ugly. He got more kids, health condition, ugly. That motherfucker, he ain't trying to do a life piece. So I don't know what's going on. I guess they got done with this shit. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these niggas won't understand this shit because, you know, these niggas don't, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, you know, that's how life goes. Hopefully, you know what I'm saying, these niggas get free from their situation, man. They got 2 more cases. Shit. It's real nigga shit. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, man. Fuck with your boy Hood and Outside, Big Crip, Gang, Outside shit.
Hey, Dad, you know, dog, when we link up, dog, this shit be legendary. You know this instrumental, you the engineer on it, so Kodak everywhere.